Okay, and we're going to start this morning off by hearing from fearless leader Megan Whitby. I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thanks, Gina. I just want to thank all of you for taking the time today to attend this training. I know everybody is extremely busy. We completely understand that. We're very excited about today. You're going to see the next phase of our marijuana licensing management system. And as you all know, we've been, making step forward after step forward to get us fully online and electronic through all of our licensing processes. And this is a huge step forward. So after this, we should have no more no more paper applications. I know we had to drop to paper for some recently, which has been painful on both ends, but that should end very soon. And then the huge lift that this new release has is the new inspection tool that is fully electronic. So we're very excited about it. All of this has been an effort to make the licensing process more transparent and easier on both you and our staff here. So we're very excited and hope you guys are excited too. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Okay, let me switch back over to the slides and we're going to take it away. So who you're going to be hearing from today, presenters and support, just heard from Megan. Tom may or may not be joining us, but they are here to help answer questions as we present the content. So there's myself, Gina Feda. Megan Wagner will be doing the training demo on inspections, and Dan Ciatone will be doing the demo on the adult use phase 2, which is the change applications. So this is who you're going to have with you today. And then what to expect, our agenda. We just heard from Megan. Then we're going to dig into inspections. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the key changes. We'll get into a few demos with that so you can see what those changes look like. Then we'll talk about phase 2, a brief overview of what to expect in adult use phase 2, some demos of that. And then, of course, we'll get into next steps and some Q&A at the end. Of course, as always, please do feel free to ask questions in the chat throughout. If you keep your phones on mute, that's helpful. But if you want to unmute to ask a question, that's fine too when we do open it up for questions, or you can just use the chat. Either is fine. Without further ado, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming with inspections. So as Megan mentioned, this is really exciting. A lot of cool stuff is coming with this release. And so some things to expect and just to realize the benefits of how this will impact you. First and foremost, you now have more things in one central hub, one central location. So you're going to be able to find all your facility information there, not only what you've already been able to do for medical and adult use of marijuana, but now your inspections being there too is going to just make life a lot easier for everyone. Less paper and email correspondence, which is always a good thing and does speed up the timing and processing efficiencies. So that is also really good news. More transparency and visibility is when you get into your portal, you're going to be able to see so much more information than you did before in regards to your inspection. So you can see where they're at in the process. You can look at inspection records. You'll have access to that historical data. And it's going to be a lot more convenient for you than trying to dig and find things either in emails or paper or anywhere else. So lots of exciting things coming with this release. There are a few new things as well, so I want to be sure to talk about those. Probably the biggest new thing is that there is now an unannounced annual compliance inspection. This is a part of the statute that's required with duals and establishments. So unannounced compliance inspections are not necessarily a new thing, but it is something that maybe you're not used to. That doesn't mean that all inspections will be unannounced, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the one requirement is that as part of an annual compliance, it is necessary for it to be unannounced. With that, though, it's important to know that the inspections process isn't changing. Everything that you're used to with an inspection is going to be exactly the same. It's just now that it's going to be electronic versus on paper. Responding to inspections requests. So everything is now done through the portal. You are going to get your notifications in the portal. You'll be able to accept or reject scheduling in the portal for those inspections that are scheduled. Also SODs, which is your statement of deficiencies, your plan of corrections, your IDRs, all of that stuff is done in the portal. And you'll get to see that as Megan gets into the demo here briefly in a moment. The inspection is now integrated into the application process, which is another new change, which will be great. As I mentioned previously, you'll be able to track the progress of your inspections through the portal, so you can see exactly where things stand. Probably cuts down on a little bit less correspondence for you too, so you don't have to necessarily always reach out to ask. You can go in and self-serve and see everything that you want to know. And then the electronic signing of the NOI. And this is, Megan, I'll have you speak to that because I think yesterday you did a good job of explaining that process, the electronic signing of the NOI, and anything else that you want to add to this slide.
Thanks, Gina. So just for everyone, the NOI is that notice of inspection rights that you get whenever we come out to do an inspection. So instead of signing a paper copy for us, whoever is at the facility at the time, we will ask them to go ahead and sign on the surveyor's tablets, and then that will come to us so that we have the electronic record that someone signed that notice of inspection rights. Our surveyors will still carry around the paper copies of the notice of inspection rights, so they can still leave a hard copy with the staff that is at the facility when they go out for the inspection.
Great, thank you. Okay, before I move on, are there any questions around anything I just covered? Okay, well then we are going to get into the exciting demo piece. So Megan, I am going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Gina. Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be covering a little bit about inspections, what's new with the portal with the inspections release, and the new page that we will receive as a result of this release. We'll cover a little bit about inspection scheduling, and for those inspections that are scheduled, what you will be able to do to approve or reject that date and time that has been requested. Then we'll cover some information about the SODs, which is Statement of Deficiency, and the POC, Plan of Correction, that will go along with the SOD. And then what to do if your Plan of Correction has been rejected, how we can look at that in the portal and make it right there. So just to note too, as Gina mentioned, your process isn't changing here. So we're not getting a new inspection process. We're just doing things a little different with the way it works electronically. So it'll be easier for you all and the ADHS staff, where we're able to see no more or not as much paper, and we're able to process all of this via the portals and have more transparency with what we're doing there. So with that, I will take over here and share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see it.
Yep, we can see it.
All right, thank you. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to start with the inspections page overview. So I will log into the portal and give you a little bit of an overview on what this new tab looks like for inspections, and then what the page will look like from there. As we're familiar with, this ADHS facility licensing portal is where we'll log in. I enter my email address and password to log in here. Once I click login, I'm brought to the facility licensing portal homepage here, and I will click on the dispensaries tile as I'm going into a dispensary today to look at the inspections for that dispensary. It is dispensary 172, so I will click on this tile to log in. Now, these selections and the choices on the left side here, we're all very familiar with. We've seen a lot of these in the past. This is the way go in to do applications, the way we manage our employees. But what we can see here that's new is this inspections tab on the left. Before we get into that, I'm going to bring attention to this new notification tab that we see here and this new tile. Now there will be a couple new tiles that we'll start to see with the inspections release here. This one being the statement of deficiencies tile showing that it's available. The top will show the title of that, and then it will show the action that needs to be taken from this notification here. So for this one, it would be submit a plan of correction. It then shows the due date, as well as the facility name and the facility address where this inspection took place. Going back over here to the left side, we see the columns again with the inspections tab. If I click on this, I am brought to the inspections page. It's a little slow today. So we can see an overview of this page. If I work on it from left to right, we have the inspections header at the top, and then we move into the inspection number column. That will be the first column we see, which will be a hyperlinked field to show the inspections detail from this inspection number. I won't click on this yet because we'll go into more detail in a couple minutes on this. If we move on to the next column, we can see the inspection date column. This will show the date that the inspection actually occurred at the facility. From here, we move into the address column, and we can see the location and the address that this inspection took place. This is an important field if you have multiple locations associated with the one facility, a cultivation site, retail site, things like that. We're able to see which specific address the inspection took place at. From here, we can move into the status column. Now, inspections will only appear on this page if they are in a certain status. So the statuses that will appear here will be complete, as we can see, enforcement, and then SOD, which is statement of deficiency, POC, which is plan of correction, and IDR, informal dispute resolution. So those 5 statuses, if your inspection is in any of those statuses, that's when you will see the inspection appear on the inspection page. Now, statuses like in process, scheduling, any of those, you will not see those appear on this page. We then move into the action required column as the final column here. And the action required column will have something appear here. It will be a date as well as information if there is action that is required for this inspection. So as we can see, all of these are in this complete status. So nothing is required right now for those inspections. You can also see the records found item over here, as well as the count for the records found. This will be very helpful if we have many inspections listed. You can see here we only have 6, so we're easily able to count that up. If we had a lot more, it will list all of the records found here. Now, the record retention will appear for 3 years here. So we'll be able to see a 3-year history of inspections that have been completed, and that will be moving forward. So after Tuesday, when this release occurs, we'll then be able to see all of the inspections from Tuesday on for a 3-year period before they'll drop off and fall off of this list. Also can see here in the top right that this is what's on each page. It still, once again, shows the facility name as well as the facility address associated with it. Any questions on the new page here that we have for inspections?
There is one question. It's not regarding this page, but it is regarding the annual inspection process. So the question is, if we kept our grow cultivation medical and didn't convert to a dual, will that inspection still be scheduled? Megan, do you want to weigh in on that one?
We'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Outside of this training. Thank you.
That's it, Megan Wagner. No other questions right now.
All right. Thank you, Gina. Okay, so that was an overview of the inspections page in the portal. We saw the inspection records in here, and we saw kind of what exists on this inspection page. We're now going to move into inspection scheduling, and we'll be able to see what an inspection looks like. Bear with me for 1 second as I open a new tab here. All right. So if I want to schedule inspection, I'm going to log out here and log in as a new person. One second. It's a little slow today. Still loading, we're getting there.
Are you on a different screen besides this one, Megan?
Yes, I am. It's loading on the other screen and I'm going to bring it over.
Okay. I was like, I think this one's the live system.
Yes.
There's a lot happening to get ready for next week's release. So probably a little bit of dragging on the system this morning. We'll get through it.
Right here. Okay. It's opening. All right. I will bring it over here. Okay, so now we're going to work through an inspection schedule. And so what we'll receive here and what we can see is an email notification. So now this will be for something that is a scheduled inspection. As Gina mentioned, not all inspections will be scheduled. If inspections are unannounced, you will not receive notification and the inspection will occur at an unannounced time. If an inspection is scheduled, this could be as a result of an application, then you will be able to confirm or reject the inspection. You will receive an email to the facility email address, and then you will have the notice here that says action required, confirm inspection date. This message will tell you information about the location as well as the date and time that the inspection is scheduled for. You can see here that it says the anticipated start time will be between this 4-hour window. So please note that when we're looking at the inspections. If we use this link here, which says please click here, we will open this inspection scheduler and we'll be able to see the confirm inspection screen. It will show the address associated with the facility that's going to be inspected, as well as the scheduled date and time that is listed for this inspection. So once again, it's on the 29th here with the start time from 10 to 2. If we see here then moving on, we see the red asterisk here, which will show accept or reject inspection. Now this is a required field, and we're able to then click the drop down here, and we'll see two options. It's accept or reject. If I do click the reject button, I will be brought to this rejection explanation box that's also required with the red asterisk here. And I will have to type in a reason that the I will be rejecting this inspection date and time. If I want to click approve here, or sorry, accept, I would move it to the accept drop down, and then I would be able to click submit. If I click submit, I'm brought to this thank you, your response has been submitted screen. Now this will show for the accept or reject, it will say that your response has been submitted, and you'll know that this has been sent to ADHS once you receive this screen here. If you do reject it and ADHS has to reschedule from there, you'll receive another email that will have you confirm the new scheduled date and time from there. Do we have any questions on the inspection scheduling information?
Yes. So Zach asks, so with a scheduled inspection, just from my understanding, when inspection is scheduled, will we still get an email notification? And yes, Megan is going to talk about this. So there's two ways that you will be notified of a scheduled inspection. One of them is this email, and another one is through your portal, which she's going to cover here in a moment. that's all for questions right now.
Okay, awesome. So that was just how to schedule an inspection there. Like we said, it's pretty straightforward. You're able to then see and approve it. It also doesn't have to be completed just by the POBM there. That will go to the facility email address. And so it doesn't go through the portal. It just goes to this separate inspection schedule approval tab. So you'll be able to complete it from there. Okay, now we are going to move into the SOD, Statement of Deficiency, and POC, Plan of Correction, once you receive a Statement of Deficiency. Bear with me while I log in as a new user again. Okay, so we just went through the process. I am a POBM now, and we just went through the process of having our facility inspected. The inspection took place a couple days ago. I've now received what I think is an SOD, and I'm able to view that SOD. So in order to do that, there's a couple ways that you'll be notified of this SOD when you receive it. First, I'm going to log into the portal, my email address and password. I'm going to click on my facility tile and click on the associated facility that I would like to view. If I'm a person who is constantly checking in my facility portal, I'm always looking at this, then I will receive a notification here. This is the first way that I'll be able to see what I have as a statement of deficiency here. So as I mentioned before, I'll receive this tile that shows that the statement of deficiency is available, tells me the action that's needed by the due date, as well as the facility name and address associated with it. If I am not a person who's always checking in my portal, if I'm checking my email a lot more often, I will receive an email message that will say that the facility, that the inspection has been completed and an SOD has been issued for my facility. But if I wanted, I would be able to click on that link, and I'm also then brought right into this portal. So they both bring you to the same place. You just won't necessarily see the notification unless you're in the portal. So the email would be the trigger for you there. So once we move from here, I then would click on this notification, be brought into the Inspections tab. Now this is what we talked about before, where the inspection number is hyperlinked, and I'm able to click it to view the inspections detail page. If I click on this here, I can also see now that the status and action required fields are both filled in with the POC that's requested by 4/20/2021. So I will click on the inspection link, and I am brought into the inspection detail page for Dispensary 177. Now, once again, I see this information at the inspection detail highlight section at the top that was listed on the previous page. So it shows the inspection number, the inspection dates, the status, as well as the address for this facility. Now, the status is listed as SOD, Statement of Deficiency. It will change once I submit this plan of correction to the department, and it will then show POC. We move on and talk a little bit more about this page. You can see here that the Statement of Deficiency is listed, and it says that the following deficiencies were found during the inspection held on date that is listed above, March 18th here. We move to the next section, we can see this Request IDR link. Now this can be clicked and requested if there is an item that the facility believes were in compliance with the rule and they were cited for. So it just gives you the opportunity to present information and have the issue elevated and reviewed if necessary. You've always been able to do this. It's just now listed here on this link. I click it, it changes the plan of correction information into the informal dispute resolution section, and the reasons will be listed here. I click Cancel IDR. I'm brought back to the plan of correction screen, which I'll want to take action for each associated inspection item. Moving on in the screen, we see all of the rules and statutes listed here that I was not in compliance with and found to need correction for my inspection. We can see this specific rule is listed here, and that's what we'll need to correct anything that we had issues with when we're submitting the POC for that specific inspection item. Moving on, I can also see the comments that ADHS has listed for this specific inspection item. as well as any files that they have attached for the inspection item. So clicking on this file would then bring me to the inspection attachments associated with this. If I click into the next one here, we'll see one file was listed here. We can then see the file. If I click on it, I'll be able to download that and see what evidence EDHS has presented. Clicking cancel here will exit back out of that. Moving on along forward with this line item, we can see the actions here. So a plan of corrections is required to be submitted for each inspection item that was found to be deficient here. So all of these listed will show this red notebook icon, and I'll have to submit this action accordingly. I can see also at the top here that it shows the date that my plan of correction is due by. If I click on the notebook, I'm brought into this plan of correction action screen. Like I said, one plan of correction action is required for each inspection item that has been listed. Here, I will quickly move through and fill this in for us. Looking at the temporary solution and date temporary correction was complete. Those two are not required fields, although please feel free to fill those in to show the solutions that have been put in place. Required fields are listed once again with that red asterisk, and they will be the name, title, and or position of the person responsible, the permanent solution, the date for that permanent correction, as well as the monitoring field. So I'm just filling this in as test data here, and we'll just be able to move through this as we see, but you would obviously enter specific information around that plan that you will be taking to correct the deficient item. Once I do this, I can click Save. I save the item here. It saves that plan of correction for the specific inspection item that I just entered, and it will turn the red notebook icon from the red color to the gray color. You can see then that that has successfully been attached. Now, if there are any photos or items that I would like to attach as evidence for my plan of correction, I'm able to click this paperclip icon and attach any files here that I would like to put for this specific inspection item. Like I said, a plan of correction is required for each inspection item. So if I click on the next inspection item, once I reviewed it, I'm able to add any information here. I would then put my date that it will be complete, as well as the monitoring and save. One thing to note, if you would like to edit this, you can click, once it's saved, you can click on the gray notebook icon, and you will be able to change any of those items before it's been submitted. Once this whole plan of corrections has been submitted, you won't be able to then modify anything until it's sent back to you, if it is. The last one here we see is still the red notebook icon, so I will just add more information here to show my plan. And then I will save that one as well. Now we can see all inspection items now have that grayed out notebook, which means the action has been attached for each one of them. I decided that I don't need any files associated with any of these right now, so I will be submitting this plan of correction, and it will be sent to the department. Click Submit here. And very similar to that scheduling screen, I get this, "Thank you, your POC has been submitted" message. From here, I'm able to see that the POC was sent to ADHS, and I now can await the return of that POC or the approval of the POC. If I click back to Portal, I'm then brought back into this inspections page where I can see now that my inspection number is now listed as the POC status, which means it has been sent to ADHS and it is awaiting action from ADHS. Any questions here on viewing and reviewing the SOD and submitting the POC?
One quick thing before I get to the next question, I just want to correct something that I said incorrectly when I was answering your question, Zach. So thank you, Megan, for showing it on here. When you get the notification of the scheduled inspection, that comes through your email. It was the SOD I was talking about where you can find out the notification two different ways, either through your email or through that notification tab. So I just wanted to clarify that. And then we do have one question in here from Amy. Can a POC files only be completed through the facility portal by a POBM, or can another staff member have access to complete the POC, i.e. compliance director for the dispensary?
As of right now, it is just the POBMs that have access.
It
Great.
will be any POBMs associated with that dispensary though, or sorry, with that facility. They will all see this specific inspection.
If there's no other questions right now, but if you guys have any, feel free to pop them in the chat. And I think we're good to move on, Megan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that was, like I said, viewing the SOD and sending a POC and completing the POC there. Now we're going to look at what happens if the department rejects one of the POC items and what we can do from there. So once again, I am going to log out and log in as a new example. Bear with me for 1 second. Okay, so from here, once again, I'm going to log into my portal. Now we are pretending like we submitted the POC, which we just saw, that the department has reviewed it, and they have now found that one of my items is not sufficient, and I need to redo that POC item and come up with a new plan of action for that. So if I were to log into my facility here, I see I would like to view dispensary 176. That's what I am working with now. Click on that tile, and I am brought once again into my portal. You can see here in the notification section, there is a new tile that we have not seen before. As I mentioned, there are going to be new tiles that appear with this inspections release. The first one that we saw was this statement of deficiency 1. Now we can see here this resubmit your plan of correction tile. If we can see, it says the title of this would be resubmit your plan of correction. It shows the action as see statement of deficiencies for details. It also shows the due date associated with this item, and the facility name and the facility address where this inspection took place. So if I would like to resubmit my plan of correction, I will click on the tile, which will once again bring me to this inspections tab. From the inspections tab, I'll view the appropriate inspection number. I can see now that the status has once again turned to SOD, as I now have a statement of deficiency that I am required to correct once again. From here, I can click on the inspection number, like we did before, and I'm brought back into this inspection detail page. Now, something that looks a little bit different that we hadn't seen before is we now have the POC accepted status for a couple of these inspection items. You can see here that the first 3 are listed as POC accepted, and the action here shows this notebook that was previously red still as gray, meaning no action is needed for these. If I scroll down, I'm able to see the item that was rejected by the department. And I can see here that this one says POC rejected for this specific inspection item. You can also see that the gray notebook has now turned back to red, meaning I'm required to enter additional information for my plan of correction here. If I click on this note, the notebook icon here, I'm then brought to the plan of correction action page once again. I can see here the note that ADHS has sent returning this plan of correction action. So whatever's listed here is the information that I will need to correct, and it's helpful text showing why the item was not accepted. So from here, I'm just going to add a little bit more detail. I'll have to put in a new date associated with this permanent correction, and then I can put in additional monitoring information. Once I have completed that, I can click Save. We'll see here, the notebook icon is turned to the gray status, so we can see we are ready to resubmit this POC item. Once I'm ready to do that, I can click Submit. And I will once again receive the message that says, thank you, your POC has been submitted. Now, this process can go back and forth for a little while if you do have inspection items that are rejected and the department needs you to correct those. You'll just continue the same process where you will receive the same notification. You'll be able to correct that item until your inspection has every inspection item as complete and accepted, and then your inspection will be listed as complete and it will be finalized. Any questions here on any of the POC rejection information or anything else that we've covered with inspections?
There's no questions in the chat. And I just want to point out the beauty of this is that you can see, as Megan has demonstrated, all of this is happening instantly. So as soon as there is POC submitted, or if you have anything that needs to be resubmitted, it's all done back and forth instantly through your portal, which really speeds up efficiencies and being able to correct whatever is needed. I think we're good to move on, Megan.
Yes, we are. Thank you. All right, Gina, I think that's all I have then with inspections. If we have no other questions, I'll turn it back over to you to move to adult use.
Okay, perfect. And one of the things I forgot to say at the beginning of this presentation is that we do not anticipate going the full 2 hours, so that's good news. And it looks like we're right on track to be done a little bit early. So we always give ourselves the time should we need it, but we are always happy to give you back some time if we're able to get through everything as quickly. So we are going to move on now to adult use phase 2. And as you are aware, everything that happened in January was phase 1. So getting those applications rolled out, allowing the sales of the adult use of marijuana to begin, and all the great things that came with phase 1 have been underway for now for a couple of months. And now we're ready for phase 2, which is the change applications. We are doing this in priority order, so that way we can make sure that you guys have the ability to take the actions that you need to take, and we're able to get this functionality out to you as quickly as possible. So with phase 2, here's what to expect. We have the change application and the modification application coming your way next week. A couple of things to note on both of these applications. So now with the change application, you can do multiple changes in one application. So whether you want to make one change or you want to make 3 changes, you do it all in one application, and it's only the one fee. The one fee will be regardless of how many changes are in that application. Again, whether 1 or 3, you're just paying the one fee. And then this change application does generate or update certificate information based off whatever that change is. The modification application has been separated out. This is less of I won't say important, but one that doesn't require a fee or doesn't require changes to the certificate or anything like that. A little bit smaller things sometimes. And so this has been separated out. There is no fee associated for this modification application, and it does not generate an update to your certificates. So these are the 2 demos that we're going to cover. We know that you are probably pretty familiar with both of these applications from the medical marijuana side, although now it's going to look a little bit different, having separated that modification application out. I'm going to turn it over to Dan, who is going to go through each of these and just show you the nuances and differences that are coming your way. Oh, before I do that, sorry. Next phase 3, will be renewal applications. So again, haven't needed renewal applications quite yet, but when we are ready to get that functionality in place, then we'll make sure you know about it. We'll do a demo, and you'll be prepared for that as well. Okay, Dan.
Awesome. Thanks, Gina. All right, as I share my screen here. Okay, so first screen you'll see is the login screen, so we'll just kind of glaze over that. You're used to this, so I'm going to go ahead and log in as a user. So pretend we just did that. So then you'll go into your facility portal. Here your facility tiles will display. For this user, for Pepper Potts, we have duals and establishment. So I'm going to go ahead and select the duals tile. And that will display all the duals I'm related to. So for this example, for this demo, we're going to go ahead and use dispensary 207, which is technically a dual. All right, so we're familiar with the standard homepage and inspections tab that we just talked about. And then we're going to go into the applications tab. And as Gina had mentioned, the change application for establishments is its own tile. This is just for the dual side, the dual facilities. So when we go into a facility that is a dual, you're going to see an establishment change application and also a dispensary change application. So they're going to be separate since we're managing two different certificates and two different sides of the business. We're going to also see the modify facility site application as a separate application. As I mentioned before, it used to be part of the change app, but for the establishment, if we're modifying something, we're going to take it out. So application is separate, and we'll kind of walk through that. It's nothing much has changed in the application itself, but we'll definitely show you that for this example. Just to keep in mind as well, once we open this tile and open the change application, if we're ever moving an establishment's retail site, it will be required that you submit another change application for your dispensary certificate to show to apply for relocation as well, a move of not a retail site, but a dispensary location. So just keep that in mind. We'll have additional training material that will outline that a little bit in more detail, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and select the change application from the establishment. And as that loads. Great. So then this is the agreements page, and we're pretty familiar with this. The main couple things that we want to outline here is you'll see all these required documents that will be listed. As mentioned on that previous slide, that you're able to do one or many changes in one application. What's great about that is you're only paying one fee this time. So you're only paying one fee per application. So if I had 3 different changes in here, I would only pay that one fee. But the system won't know which things are going to be changing before. So we're going to list out all the required documents based off of every change possible that you can do on the application. So that's why you're seeing a larger list of required documents. Keep in mind that not all of them will be required. It's just based off of your changes that you're going to be doing. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and select I agree. And the first page as it loads is the establishment change location selection page. So once we scroll down, I'll show you what that means. But for all the pages of the application, you're going to see these facility information sections. Basically, it's going to house your current facility details that are on your certificate at this moment. So right now, the facility name, the entity that owns the facility, the certificate ID will display as well. And any approved to items will also be listed, so you'll know what's available for you to change or modify this application. And then on the next section, it's your physical address for that facility. So basically the retail site, since this is the establishment, or the dispensary site, that address, that physical address will be here. The next section is the cultivation address. So physically, if it's offsite, this location will be populated with that address. Same thing with the manufacturing site. The physical location of that address will display here. So then at the very bottom, I'm able to select this drop-down menu. And if I'm going to modify something or change something based off of the site, I'm going to select one of these sites here. I can only do one site at a time for each change application. So if I want to add cultivation or modify my cultivation site, I would select cultivation and proceed through that way. Same thing with the manufacturing. For this example, we're going to walk through the retail site, and they're going to come back and then I'll show you how to add a cultivation or add a manufacturing site to your facility. So right now we're going to modify something or change something within the retail site. So I'm going to save and continue. Okay, and like I mentioned before, all the information is going to show here. We're going to scroll down to the actual change forms. So I have an existing retail site. The application will say change retail location. I can check that box. If I check that box, an address field will display. This is where if I'm moving my retail site, this is how I do it. So then I'll add in my new location address. And that will basically notify ADHS once I submit it that I'm moving the retail site, and whether or not if it's what date that will be effective. And we'll go through that step as well. But if I wanted to add cultivation to my retail site, not an offsite cultivation, but adding that cultivation function to my retail site, I just select that checkbox. And then that's notifying that saying I am applying for that cultivation for my retail site. And then if I want to add manufacturing to my retail site, same thing, I'll just check that box. But then if I don't already have a manufacturing feature on my retail site, I will be able to add whether or not I'm preparing edibles at that retail site. So if I'll do that, I'll select that. And this is pending if we're going to require basically where or how we'll do this. But for this application, it's going to require me to do an upload of a food establishment. And then we'll have an effective date. So effective date, I can select a date in the future or today. And then whether or not I'm ready for inspection. If I'm ready for inspection, I just select that box and then the date picker will go away. But if I'm not ready for inspection, I just go ahead and keep that unchecked and then select a date in the future as well. Inspection ready date is on, say, the Friday. So anytime after Friday and after that, I'm ready for inspection. I'm going to go ahead and save and continue. Any questions before we move on to the uploads page?
There are not any questions in the chat as of now.
Okay. I'll save and continue. Now, go ahead and upload a couple of these documents just for us to go through the payment and submission flow. And just one thing to note on this page for the change apps for your establishments, the rest of the documents, other than the food one, won't be required by the system. But you just be careful and be really cognizant of which things you're changing, because if it requires that upload, you'll have to upload it. The system won't tell you if it will, just because there's so many paths you can take to change things on here. So like the uploads component, you'll see if requesting to change the location of a marijuana establishment, retail site, cultivation site, manufacturing site, you'll have to upload this. So make sure we read that carefully before submitting, or else it might result in an NOD or notice of deficiency. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that final document and save and continue. And then the final part of the application is really just to review all the things that we've uploaded. If there are any issues or items that were in error, then we can just go ahead and edit that section and go back to that. For right now, I'm going to go to payment and then officially submit the app. As you can see, it's only $2,500 for all those changes. Remember, we did three or four changes in one application. So that was easy. So then we go back to the portal. So now, if I go back to that same facility site, we'll be able to track that in the application's history as a submitted establishment change and the date and the status. So if it ever is, if I've missed something or if there was a action that I needed to do on this application, the status would also change to action required, and I can select it to reopen the submitted application to edit it. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the original change application form and then go ahead and show you how to add a cultivation site offsite. So if I wasn't, since I don't already have a cultivation, the way that I'm going to do it is select cultivation, go to save and continue, and similar forms. We don't need to worry about that. So now the text in the form will show as add cultivation location. So if I select that, then I'm going to be able to add a address physical address for where that offsite cultivation will be located. And then the system will start asking me if I want to add processing to that cultivation site. If I select that checkbox, that item will also be submitted in the application as something I want to change. Similar things, I can add manufacturing to a cultivation site. I can select that button. Same thing, prepare edibles to cultivation site. Since they're linked, I can only prepare edibles at a manufacturing site. That's why that is populating after I select that box. If I don't select it, I'm not able to add it. If you already have one in the future, say if you've added a manufacturing site, but you weren't quite ready to prepare edibles for some reason, this would still appear in your cultivation site application. I'll just uncheck those because we don't need those. Very similar. Rest is much the same. We're adding effective date. Whenever we're ready for that, we're ready for inspection, and we go through the same process and submit that application. And remember, there is a fee for that. So that's basically that's the same steps as adding a manufacturing site. And another thing to note before we move on is if I already had a manufacturing site or a cultivation site offsite for my establishment and it's already approved, this is where you would change your, if you were going to move your cultivation site, this is how you would do it. It would be similar to what we saw in the retail application, saying change cultivation location. I would just check that box and then the address form would come up and would just enter my new address for my cultivation site. Okay, that kind of wraps up the change application. Any questions before we go to the modify application? I don't see anything on the chat either.
Yeah, there's nothing in the chat. If you guys have any questions around the change applications at all, feel free to pop those in there or unmute yourself.
Awesome. Okay. So going back to modify application, remember this is designated for renovations, things that won't really impact or change your certificate. It's just adding a bathroom or moving a door. I don't know. All the required documents for the application will display on the agreements page. The system will require all of them since we're only doing one application at this point. I'm going to go ahead and agree. Then, if you've done one before in the dispensary world, that you're going to see it's very similar. In the drop-down menu, the only sites that I can select are sites that I've already been approved for my certificate. So if I had a offsite cultivation, I would be able to modify that here too. But for this user, the only site that's available is retail site. I'm going to select that. Then I will go ahead and add the description of that modification to the form. If it's ready for inspection, similar logic, it will show the inspection ready date if I don't have it checked. So I'll just say that I am ready for inspection. Oops, sorry, it's selected. Okay. And I'll quickly go through this upload page to show you the payment portal and the fee, which is actually no fee. We'll skip the payment portal because this one has no fee. How that works. I'm going to try to get these uploaded. All right. So once we upload all the files, you'll notice that I'll go into the review page and then the buttons are different. So all the fields that I've added here are showing. If I need to edit them like similar before, I can do that. So right now, it's not saying submit and go to payment. It's just going to submit. So I don't have to pay for anything for a modify application at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. And now it's officially submitted without payment. So that since that application didn't require payment, and it's going to show up in my application history tab. Here we go. So facility modification application here, and it's submitted. And that kind of wraps up the application side.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dan. So those were the two demos that we wanted to show you, both a few examples of the change application as well as the modification application. I'll pause one more time for just any points of clarification or questions or anything you guys might want to know about those applications. Go ahead and get my slides back up. All right. Megan Whitby, is there anything you would like to add about either of those applications?
I think you guys did a great job covering it. Thanks, Gina.
Okay. All right then, so we're going to go ahead and move forward, and really where we are now is next steps and resources. So we want to prepare you for the release next week. We are planning to release. Our go live is Tuesday, March 30th. And so as always, we want to make sure that we equip you with some resources, some materials you can go back to and reference at your leisure. So here is what you have at your disposal. These training resources will be uploaded to the MLMS training webpage. I'm going to show you that in just a moment in case you haven't been out to that page or aren't familiar with it. I will remind you how to access it. But what you will have available to you is the updated POBM handbook. Every time we add new functionality or have a new release, we do update that POBM handbook and make sure that you have documentation you can always reference. There will be some inspection instructional videos out there. So similar to what you saw in the demo today, there'll be a couple of short little video snippets that just walk through a couple of instructional items that you can look at that are not as long as watching this entire training or looking at your POBM handbook. And then as well as a change application instructional video. So similar to what Dan just covered, you can go in and access that video as well. And then we will send you a link to this recorded training once we have it available. Of course, between now and then, and as always beyond then, reach out with any questions. And as I mentioned, go live is planned for March 30th next week. Okay, the training site. So you can access all the training materials out here on the training resources MLMS page. If you are not familiar with this, you can access this page from multiple locations. So if you see there number 1, it shows on the left-hand menu bar. You can access this from the main marijuana landing page. You can also access it from the medical marijuana page and the adult use of marijuana page. That link will be on that left-hand column on all 3 pages. So it's very easy access for you. Click on that link. When you get to the page, the number 2 icon or number 2 down at the bottom underneath resources is for the marijuana facilities and agents. So if you click that drop down box or the drop down arrow, it's going to reveal everything that all the resources you have. So your handbooks, the videos, any job aids or anything that we create to support you with these releases will be out there. Our target is to have these materials out on the site by Friday, but we'll notify you when they're out there. It could go into next week, just depending, but we will make sure that they are available to you and you can access them as needed. One final thing, just as a reminder, these are all the things I just mentioned. Please use them. They are at your disposal. Those adult use web pages, that website that was created for this new program, anytime there is new information to put out there, we are putting it out there so you can reference it. The handbooks, the videos, FAQs, and the ADHS communications, anything that is timely that we need to get out to you, we will put it in those communications. And as I mentioned, we'll link to and notify you when those training materials are available as well. If you have any requests or recommendations or anything that you would like to see on these web pages, if there's some FAQs or any other training support that you think would be helpful, let us know, and we are happy to look into how we can best support you with that. With that, that concludes everything that we wanted to cover today. So yes, we finished in half the time. I will pause here again for any remaining questions and anything that you may want to add or say, Megan.
I just really want to thank everyone again for your time today, and please bear with us as we roll this out. We think it's going to be very successful. I would like to thank Gina's team. They've spent a lot of time with our internal employees here to make sure the rollout will be a success. But as with anything, there's bound to be a few hiccups along the way, and it's new technology. So please be patient with us and we'll all learn together. But we're excited for all of these new processes and hope you are too.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. And thank you everyone for your time today. Have a good day.